Hey, what's going on, everyone? Appreciate those of y'all tuning in. Welcome back to the channel slash podcast. Today we have an all 22 film breakdown on LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels started his collegiate career at Arizona State University. He then transferred to LSU, which is where he won the Heisman. Right now that this breakdown is being filmed, it is April 12th, so that means we're 13 days away from the NFL draft. A lot of mock drafts have Jayden Daniels going second overall to the Commanders. So in this film breakdown, we'll be looking at his first collegiate start compared to now. How much has he progressed? What are some things that he's learned? Things he needs to work on, NFL traits that he has. All of those things we'll be looking at, analyzing, and we'll also be finding out, is he worth picking number two? If you're the Raiders or a team that's interested in Jayden Daniels, we'll find out, like I said, what he does well, get to know the player a little bit more, the nuanced details within the films, mechanics, all of those sorts of things. Really excited. But before I start this breakdown, just want to let you know the links and the addresses to my social media will be in the description of this video. So make sure you all go check that out. I have my Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, all of that will be in there. I greatly appreciate it. Subscribe, hit the bell, turn on post notifications. You don't want to miss any of the content I have coming up. Be a friend, tell a friend, share this video out with others whose favorite team may be interested in drafting Jayden Daniels and things of that sort. If you guys do any of those things, I sincerely, greatly appreciate it. Appreciate y'all. And let's get into this film breakdown. As y'all know, that's textbook. Okay, so here we go. This is Jayden Daniels' first collegiate start. And the scheme or how this play is drawn up is we have the wide receiver to the slot right here. He's going to be running an under route. We have the wide receiver to the bottom of the screen running a seam, and he's just going to be occupying in between the hashes right here. We have the back on a rail route, and to the bottom in the slot, I don't know what they're doing right here just because they immediately start blocking. Are they trying to run a pick play or rub route for the seam route or for the under route? My best educated guess is it's for the under, just because the back is going to occupy the flat defender on a rail, and so there's either going to be a cornerback or one of these linebackers right here that's going to affect this under route. Maybe that's how Arizona State's trying to draw it up. I don't know, but what I love from Daniels is the maturity to step up in the pocket, keep his eyes downfield. And so we see 87, right? He's just blocking. If you're trying to run a pick play or a rub route, you can't just block like that. That's going to be a penalty. But Daniels senses pressure from three sides, from the tackle spots and the right guard spot, keeps two hands on the ball, steps up in the pocket, gains some yards, and then the slide. We've seen Jayden Daniels not use the slide, and then it's costed them. We all know that at the next level, those hits add up. So really nice to see the blend of those things to sense pressure, step up, keep your eyes downfield. There's not a whole lot there, so we don't force it. Then when you gain yards, use the slide. Solid rep for a player in his first collegiate start. On this play, there's a lot of good from Jayden Daniels in terms of him going through his reads, checking them off, and then getting to his third option. But the big thing is that he misses the throw. And so let's look at the scheme of this play from the top, working down to the bottom. At the top, this wide receiver is going to be running a post stop. We have in the slot right here, they're just going to be running this crossing route. To the bottom, we have a deep out. And at the bottom of the screen, we have a go route. So we see Jayden Daniels, he's going to work this to the left. Doesn't like it. Goes back to the crossing route over here, which is where this voided middle of the field is, right? So we know pre-snap voided area middle of the field. Let's look left. That way, if it is a zone, we get the defenders that are paying attention to our eyes to shift left a little bit. When we work back right, we have enough room to make the throw. So he does a lot of good things with it, right? Gets to the top of his drop. He's looking left, doesn't love it, feels pressure. We got pressure in our face. We have to make this throw, goes for it, and he just sails it too high. And now we get a little bit better of a view from the back right here. And it's done really well in rhythm, but the biggest thing is he just misses the throw. Like he gets to the top of his drop, and as soon as he does that, he's already switching his eyes to another part of the field. It's just the throw is a bit too high. This play right here, I think, just shows. Of course, it's Jayden Daniels' first collegiate start, but he's also sticking to one side of the field a little bit too long and locking onto his reads. The structure of this play is at the top of the screen, working from the top to the bottom. We have a 5 yard in route with a crossing route. The wide receiver right here to the slot has an out. To the bottom, we have a go. And with the back, we have a swing route. So he's our check down. And like I say with playing quarterback, and I was watching a analyst who was talking about like the defense has only a certain amount of blend. There's only 11 players that can guard a certain parts of areas of the field, right? Usually you're going to have three rushers to the quarterback. And most times you're going to have four. So that leaves 8 to 7 defenders that can cover a big portion of the field, right? We just have to understand where they're going, where their zone responsibilities are, where they're flowing, and of course, where our guys are going with their routes. And we're going to see at the top of the screen, there's going to be a big void, right? So we see this defender immediately get out here. We see the defender that was next to him, which is him right here, work up this way. Now that creates a void over here, and there's a pocket. There's a space between those two defenders, right? He's looking this way, and for whatever reason, unless he's looking at this defender right here, trying to make a read, he just doesn't go to it. And then we have the swing. Like if we there's no wrong in getting the ball out to the check down right here and then having eligible blockers out. A lot of teams will do that as a structured play itself. He doesn't do it. And listen, you watch the game on TV, right? And it's a completion, but still you want to see your quarterback understand the defense's responsibilities post snap. This play right here is my favorite play Jayden Daniels has made in his entire collegiate career. The circumstance is it's the second quarter, 8 seconds to go, 3rd and 20. And the play is we're going to have the running back on a swing route. The wide receiver in the slot to the top of the screen is going to be running out to the top. We have a go. And say almost the same thing to the bottom. The slot receiver is going to be running in out, but to the bottom right here, to the bottom of the screen, number 2, he's going to be running an in route. So remember, second quarter, 8 seconds to go, 3rd and 20. The defense is going to be playing off, and they're going to be playing prevent, right? They don't want to give up the big play. But what I love about this from Jayden Daniels is he's going to face pressure immediately right here, so he senses it. Now he has to step up in the pocket. These two defenders right here, I don't know, one of them has to have the responsibility of covering this middle of the field right here because it's wide open and left void. But how Jayden Daniels steps up and then to make an off-platform throw, which I feel like in the modern NFL now, you have to have at least somewhat, either from you're decent at it to you're elite at it in that elite tier. But he makes an off-platform throw, pressure in his face. He gets hit. Wide receivers making the play. Now remember, 8 seconds left. Probably should have just went out of bounds. You can get that field goal opportunity. We're breaking down Daniel's tape, but I like how he just was able to sense all of that pressure, make an off platform difficult throw. And from the back view, we really get a sense of it. He's looking right, feels the pressure. He's going to step up and just makes a ridiculous throw on the money. It's even wrong-footed. I think he's throwing that ball with his right foot on the ground. Yeah, right foot on the ground, still right between the numbers, right in the middle of the chest where it needs to be. Next up, we have another play action play from Jayden Daniels. This one should be an interception, and it feels like, again, he's predetermining a lot of his reads. So the scheme of this play is to the top of the screen, we have this wide receiver on the crossing route running through the logo. At the bottom of the screen, we have a corner route. Tight end right here, he's going to be entertaining this flat route. Jayden Daniels works through it really well in terms of the mechanic of the drop back. We want to widen that angle because we know on play action there's going to be pressure in our face some way, whether that's one of these defensive linemen that's in through here or out on the edge in space. And I'll let it play first. So you see the almost a near interception. And it feels predetermined to me because if I were to just rewind it a little bit back to about this point right here, we see Jayden Daniels get out to the edge, right? And we see his eyes. Like if we can draw a line, it's to right here. You don't want the key defender isn't one of these linebackers right here because naturally with the play action, they're going to go with the flow of the offensive lineman. So we have nothing to worry about with them. We have to worry though with this defender right here because they determine where we go with the football. If this defender gets depth to cover the corner route, then we have the crossing route over here because this linebacker or this defender right here just isn't going to keep up with our playmaker. Okay, so he has to be the key defender, and there have been quite a few quarterbacks, especially at the NFL level, throw interceptions on plays like this. But I think to me, the reason why it feels predetermined to me is because he never looks back at this corner route right here. And look at the chance that there could be. The only time he really keeps his eyes to the area of the field of the corner route is right here. So he identifies this defender, but then he works back. And okay, if he wants to make that throw and he feels like he's capable of the arm strength and accuracy to throw it into a tight window, that's fine by me. But if it's an interception or if you're inaccurate with it, look at what we could possibly have with the corner route right here. The separation and an accurate ball, if we throw that corner route, is a touchdown. Instead, we get a near interception. So this play right here is another not so positive one for Jayden Daniels, but it's also just what is his backup plan when the first option decides not to work. So within this play, the wide out to the top of the screen is going to be running a slant. And we have the back on a swing route. Jayden Daniels decides to work that way. Well, actually, let me finish talking about these routes here to the bottom. Right here in the slot, we have a seam. Right here, we have a zig route. To the bottom of the screen, we have an in route. And so the defense, it's going to be man coverage. Jayden Daniels looks to the left. So the ball snapped. Now he's looking to the left. His eyes are there. And there are some quarterbacks that do predetermined reads, right? If you get an alert or you get the matchup with one of your number one wide receivers, your favorite guys to throw to, and you're going to throw it to him, okay, but you have to make the throw. He doesn't in this situation, and for some of these reads, you don't want to go left, right, left and if you do choose one side, most likely the timing of the other routes to the right side or the side you choose not to is already done developing. So he works left. Now, he doesn't throw it to the slant route. The second thing he has to look at is the edge rusher. Are they rushing or are they getting to the flat or is the linebacker getting to the flat? Doesn't throw it, then the linebacker is already over there to the flat. Now, let's work to these other routes, except the seam is covered. The zig route is already going to be done developing. But what Daniels does, if he were to stay in the pocket, he has the in route wide open and developing. Instead, he decides to tuck it and run, and it's a sack. So here is a plus from Jayden Daniels. I like this route combination and play design. So we have you can tell he's very comfortable running this. To the top of the screen, we have a scissors concept. A scissors concept is basically you have the number one right here to the top, be running a post. In the slot, we have a corner. We have the tight end right here on a check down. The back is also going to enter into a check down as well. And with these scissors concept, you have this cornerback right here be the conflict defender. Now, if this cornerback were to, for some reason, drop inside, and then they have the linebacker cover right here and have the safety go over top to replace the cornerback. Then you pay attention to the safety, but that doesn't happen. This safety right here drops down. So now we pay attention to the cornerback, and then if the cornerback chooses post, we go corner and vice versa. So we see Jayden Daniels is going to process left. That's where we have our design. Cornerback goes with the post. Then we go with the corner. And why I love this play is because you get the scissors concept, and it's kind of a little bit of a rub, but you're also reading one defender, picking and choosing that cat and mouse game. But if that isn't there, and this defender right here, where I'm circling with the mouse, if he were to drop and get into that passing lane and affect it, then we have the check down with the tight end. So we have a lot of options for our quarterback to win. Jayden Daniels makes the throw. We get the first down. Nice play design from the coaches, nice execution from the players, and Jayden Daniels. Another reason why Jayden Daniels is inaccurate, and what I've seen through the film is he is toesy in his drop back, yes, but watching this specific play, he doesn't really load off the back foot a whole lot. His base is pretty close together, so we see it's pretty close together. And look at how much weight he's putting onto the front foot and how this throw is going to sail. Like there's not a whole lot of explosion from the back foot and weight transfer from the back foot and the hips and shoulders, core strength into the throw, as opposed to when we watched JJ McCarthy, right? We saw it was complete torque. So there's not a whole lot of that with Jayden Daniels, and we see this throw sail on him. So now we're looking at Jayden Daniels' time at LSU in his Heisman year. So this is his first game in the 2023 season, going up against Florida State. The structure of this play, at the bottom we have double slants, but the real action is happening up top with this three wide receiver set. Excuse me. At the top we have the tight end on a corner route. Right here in the slot next to the tight end, but to the tight end's right, we have a sit, and then right here this wide receiver we just have him on a flat route. Jayden Daniels is going to look left, and I don't know why they have him look left or what the point of it is, unless they're actually feel like they can, that's their structure of the play, or they teach him to go this way with the double slants. It's possibly there, especially with this linebacker. He commits up. We have a blitz right here from number 7. Then he works back to his right. But why I like this play is because we see he feels pressure in his face. He gets the ball out quick. It's within the structure of the play. We allow our playmaker to get yards after catch. Plays like this where it's just inconsistent. He's going and reverting back to when he was at Arizona State. It's toesy. And within this play, as a quarterback, sometimes you're just picking one side. Sometimes you do scan the field left to right or vice versa. But to go left, right, then left, right again, not something you want to do. You're really indecisive that way. And again, watch just toesy. He's looking left, right, doesn't know where to go. He eventually does find an open man, but because he's so toesy in that drop back, it just sails on him. So toesy again, and the player is wide open. The pass is just way too high. On this play right here, we have for LSU to the bottom of the screen, we're going to have a sit route or a hitch. LSU is also going to motion this tight end out right here to the opposite side, and he's just going to be running a flat route. Right here, we have this wide receiver running a sit route at the 30. We also have the same thing with this wide receiver, except he's going to stay a little bit more outside to run this sit route. And to me, Jayden Daniels has to get this ball out on the break, on the money, quick decision, quick release, and he just doesn't do it to Brian Thomas Jr. right here, the receiver at the top of the screen. So as we let this play develop, then they motion the tight end out, 86 to the flat. There he is right there, and it's off coverage. So it's not like the defensive back is playing press on this. There's yards and there's a distance, quite a sizable distance between number 11 and this defensive back right here. He's looking that way. We got to get that ball out, especially in short yardage and in the red zone. Money time, we see this a lot. Instead, he goes to the opposite side, and that ball is placed inside. On these hitch routes, we cannot leave them inside because That's the only path this defensive back has to get the ball. If you were to throw it to number two's, I believe this is his left shoulder. Yeah, if you were to throw it to his left shoulder over here, more towards the sideline, he can shield that defender off with his body and position himself. You throw it inside, that's the only chance the DB has to make a play on it, and then they do. This play for me for Jayden Daniels is pretty head scratching. When we look at the how it's drawn up, you have the wide receiver to the top of the screen. He's going to be running a post. They're going to motion out 86, the tight end, onto a seam out here. And this defender right here is going to go with the tight end. Right here, this wide receiver is going to be running an out route. Right here, Brian Thomas Jr., number 11, the wide receiver at the bottom of the screen, is going to be running an under route. And Jayden Daniels is going to work his eyes left. And as I said, this defensive back right here, number 20, he's going to go with the tight end in motion. And Jayden Daniels is still going to work left. So we have post, seam, 20 goes with the tight end from this hash mark right here, where the referee is standing all the way to the sideline. We only have two options, and then we have three defensive backs and defensive players right here. Watch Brian Thomas Jr. He's going to be running this under out right here and how open he's going to be. We see Daniels, he's at the top of his drop. Once you get to the top of your drop, you should make your decision about half second to a second afterwards. That's about as much time you get, especially in the NFL with its speed. Just look at how open 11 is right here. And those of you who follow a draft, you watch film and all this sorts of things, you know how explosive Brian Thomas Jr. is with the ball in his hands after the catch and the type of speed he has. Instead, we go the other way for incompletion, and you see how upset 11 is. And I see it a little bit repeatedly for Daniels. He looks one way, and he looks for the big play. Now that's common for a lot of young quarterbacks. They're just gonna have to mature through it. But you don't want to consistently do that at the risk of taking the sure thing that could potentially be the big play. So now we're on to the Alabama game, and I like this play from Jayden Daniels because it shows his growth in let's not force things down the field. Let's just take what the defense gives us. In this case, it's third down and long. We have at the top of the screen is where the action is. So at the wide receiver to the top is going to be running a go route. We have the wide receiver in the slot on an out route. And this tight end right here is just going to be running the flat route. So a flood concept right here. In the defense, as we know, third down and long, they're going to bring down a safety to cover this out route. They have man right here on the go route. Instantly, as the ball snapped, we see this area of space wide open for the flat. Daniels takes it. Let's live to play another down. We get close. It eventually becomes 4th and 1. The next play, they go for it. Unfortunately, they don't convert it. But it's just that overall growth of, you know what, let's just live to play another down, take the easy check down. And from this back view, I like how he positions himself to the area of the reads. Okay, because we have the flood concept, right? He's gonna, I guess, what quarterbacks call it, like ducktail himself or angle himself this way, kind of like a ducktail to where the read is. So that's what he does with his footwork. Bit toesy, but he gets himself set up. And again, maturity in let's live to play another down. When I was preparing myself and watching Jayden Daniels film, the thing that I thought he did really well was utilize the middle of the field, and he routinely was getting to the backside in route. Here on this play, he necessarily doesn't, and for the reason I don't know why. Maybe it's Alabama. The competition level is bumped up a little bit. It's the closest thing you're going to get to the NFL. But on this play design, to the top of the screen, LSU is going to have double goes. They have the wide receiver right here going on an under route. They have this wide receiver going on an in route. So he's the backside in. So we're going to see Jayden Daniels work to his right. The defense, this defender right here that's closest to the referee, he's going to be in man. But these defenders right here, here, and here are going to drop into a cover 3. So we see Daniels look to the right. It's double goes. Don't like it. Now we get back to the left, and we see this area, like connecting the dots between the defenders, we see this area of the field wide open with a window to throw it for the backside in. Something like I said, he routinely was getting to. This time he doesn't. He decides to go with the under. It's behind him, tips and overthrows cause interceptions. It was a near one right there. Here on this play, we see him learn in game. Here he finally does get to the backside in. The structure of this play for LSU, wide receiver to the top of the screen is going to fake like he's going to set a rub on this defender right here, but then get to the go route. And the tight end is going to run a flat. We have the wide receiver right here in the slot on an in. At the bottom of the screen, we have another in, so a double in, levels concept. Jayden Daniels is going to work right, look left, doesn't like what he's seeing right, goes left, finds the backside in. This is an absolute dime of a throw from Jayden Daniels. The ball placement, the deep ball accuracy on this is just incredible. So in the slot to the top of the screen, this wide receiver is going to be running a slot fade. Daniels goes that way. And as I mentioned, the ball placement, deep ball accuracy, unmatched. Like if we were to pause it right here, take a picture, and I said this pass gets completed, you would have thought there's absolute no way. But the ball placement, like I said, is absurd. Watching it from this back view, so that way you get a little bit better of an angle. Remember LSU's first game going up against Florida State this season? Jayden Daniels had the opportunity on a hitch route, wasn't impressed to make a quick decision, get the ball out early, and instead he didn't. Well, this time going up against Florida, he does. And what we have is from the wide receivers, we're just going to have hitch routes or stop routes. The tight end is going to motion, he's going to go to the flat. Jayden Daniels, and this is in press coverage, it's not in off. He makes that quick decision, but not only does that's not the only thing I love about it, it's the ball placement and what shoulder this is placed on. So as we break this thing down, right there, and he's going to throw it to this wide receiver right here. He's already getting ready to let it go at the time they're at the top of their break or getting ready to stop. Ball placement on the left shoulder of the wide receiver right there, because if he were to put it on the right shoulder, it gets deflected by the defensive back right there, right? That in a lot of those situations, that's what the quarterback has to do. It's going to be a tight throw, yep, but it depends on where you put that ball. Puts it again on the left shoulder, the wide receiver is able to make a catch, and we get the completion. This past season, as the season went on, Jayden Daniels' deep ball placement as well as his anticipation on the deep ball got a lot better. So right here within this play, the slot wide receiver to the top of the screen is going to be running another slot fade. Jayden Daniels is going to go that way. Now, one thing I want to keep in mind, and it's separate to this play, is I don't see Jayden Daniels look a whole lot of safeties off. Usually, he's going to where he's going to make the throw, that's where his eyes go. He's not trying to look off defenders or any sort of that thing. But he's getting ready to launch the ball right here. What the defensive back has a step on the wide receiver as opposed to the other way. Lets it go. Still tight coverage. Ball is perfectly placed where it needs to be. We get a big play out of it. This is why a lot of draft analysts and scouts are really high on him, is because the deep ball placement he has really is one of the best in the class. And so this is still the same play. It's the slot fade to number 11. What makes your accuracy a lot better is your mechanics, right? We saw those mechanics at Arizona State. Then they got a little bit better in that Florida State game. Now we're watching this Florida game, and they're just so much more improved with the torque, footwork. So he gets that little hop, but it's not something where he's completely elevating himself off the ground, right? Good base, but watch as I pause it right there, how much transfer and core strength he's getting from that back foot into the throwing motion. That's why those mechanic things, it's such a better throw because of where you start from your base, your footwork, and mechanics. This is a nice and well done play from Jayden Daniels. So there's not going to be a whole lot there, but he's going to go through his reads, be calm and collected. Usually, when quarterbacks they're uneasy or they're unsure, they'll look left, right to scan the field. But Jayden Daniels stays calm and collected, looks at the right side, looks at the left, doesn't love anything. There's good reason, really good coverage. Doesn't scramble outside the pocket. It's going to stay in there. Even steps back or he hops back to give himself a little bit more space to throw. And he finds the wide open check down for the back. And it's just a huge chunk play. One thing I can say for sure about Jayden Daniels this year or this past season is that his quick decision making, processing, and release got a lot much better this year. So almost the same play as when we started with this Florida game is going to be from these two wide receivers at the top of the screen, stops or hitch routes. Number 27 is just going to occupy the flat route. And it's the anticipation of there's the break. Jayden Daniels has his good base, using that torque from the back foot, core strength into the throw, anticipation. Not the cleanest window to throw out of, right? Because 17 affects it a little bit. It's on the right shoulder, which is right where it needs to be. And so this is Jayden Daniels' final collegiate game going up against Texas A&M. Right here with this play, the schematics of it, how it's drawn up, to the top of the screen, we're going to have a post. This wide receiver right here in the slot is going to be running a crossing route. Right here in the slot to the bottom, we have slot fade. To the bottom of the screen with the tight end, we're going to have a hitch, and the running back is going to have a swing route. Okay, and the defense is too high man, so it's these two safeties high with man across the board. This linebacker right here is going to be on a delayed blitz, and Texas A&M is going to have one of these defensive linemen right here. I believe it's the one lined up with the right guard, drop back into a spy. Jayden Daniels, he wants to go with the the post route to the top. You see his eyes work right, looking for the post route, right? Then he goes back. So my educated guess is this is his final collegiate game. He wants to make it be a big splash. It's at home. So let's look off one of these two safeties right here. Go to the post route. That's what he that's what he ends up doing. The pass is way underthrown. Should be a pick, really. But what I want to really emphasize here is where he can train his eyes because he sees this look right here. We have two safeties, most likely doing a process of elimination. One of them drops down, or one of the corners over here drops back. Okay, or we get the too high look. That's what we do. That's what ends up happening. We have the crossing route with outside leverage. Only key factor here is this middle linebacker. But as the play develops and we see it's a delayed blitz. So now this whole area of the field is wide open. We see the defensive back go man to man with a slot fade right here. We should target this area of the middle of the field, and maybe he doesn't see it, or maybe it's the educated guess of it's his final collegiate game. He wants to go with the big play first, or and then the big, like I say, sometimes the big play is the shorter play in design. Because look at the back on the check down right there and how much space he has with blockers his way. Instead, it's a ball that really should be intercepted. So it seems like this play is a staple in the LSU playbook. They run it a lot. I've seen it a lot. All the wide receivers are going to be running stop routes. And at the bottom of the screen, this wide receiver on the stop route, he's just going to get a little bit more depth than the rest. But nonetheless, the tight end is going to be doing the same thing he usually does, getting out to the flat route. Usually quarterbacks want to work to the side of the field that has a little bit more reads for them. But Jayden Daniels, he likes to go to his star playmakers. He'll give them a chance. If you're a wide receiver and Jayden Daniels is your quarterback, you're going to be happy because you know he's going to give you those one-on-one chances, those 50-50 balls. It's just sometimes I think he does it a little bit too much. So Watch the combinations up top and watch where he goes with the football. So, should the Washington Commanders take Jayden Daniels second overall, making him QB2 in this draft? If I was demanding the Commanders, I would still lean towards Drake Maye. I think Drake Maye, in terms of NFL traits, has a little bit more that you look for as opposed to Jayden Daniels. Now, that's not to discredit Jayden Daniels. Listen, any team that drafts Jayden Daniels is getting a player that can operate the middle of the field pretty well, get to the backside in almost routinely. I think the why I say almost is because when the competition amps up, like specifically in the Alabama game, he doesn't go through things as quickly as he needs to be. He looks at one side of the field that has less reads as opposed to the other, or maybe the one side that he's working with is a little bit more difficult. He predetermines a lot of things, doesn't look off the safety or look off the defenders as well. And listen, that's just something that's just going to come with time. Like we saw in this film breakdown with Jayden Daniels, from his mechanics to everything else. He was going through the reads a little bit quicker. He had that quick release to make the quick decisions. The mechanics were a lot better, especially down the field. His downfield deep ball placement is excellent. Now, who do I think the Commanders are going to pick? I think the Commanders are going to go with Jayden Daniels just because the history of or having Cliff Kingsbury as your offensive coordinator and Cliff Kingsbury's history with mobile quarterbacks like Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray and Jayden Daniels are comparable players in terms of they can do the middle of the field pretty well, although when the competition amps up, you have questions about it. Athletically, they're gifted, and then downfield deep ball placement is where they really where they thrive. They like to let the thing go. They like to throw deep balls, whether that's post, go routes, you name it. So that is a wrap for the Jayden Daniels film breakdown where I think he will go where what I think if you're drafting him or your team that trades up with the Commanders or Patriots to draft him, what I think you're going to be getting. Appreciate those of y'all who stuck around, watched the video completely. It means a lot to me. You all mean a lot to me. Follow me on social media. All that stuff, the links, addresses in the description. Subscribe, hit the bell, turn on post notifications. Appreciate y'all. God bless. Take care. Have a wonderful day. And until next time, deuces.